Hello, my positive presence family. This is Michelle Marie King, and I am, as always, I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest. I'm so blessed to have such incredible people that I have met along my journey, and this incredible human being, mother, spiritual guru, like everything about her is just so exceptional and so warm and kind, and just another person who has transformed so much about me and my spiritual journey. And I felt like when I was kind of outlining this season, I was telling Taya and Jasmine, I was like, we need Shannon Stone. I hadn't talked to her for years. I met her years and years and years ago, and she had such immense impact on my personal journey that I was like, I need to have her as part of this season. So before I bring her in, let me tell you a little bit about her. Shannon Stone lives a passion-filled life dedicated to helping others and thrives in the quiet understanding of the power of forgiveness. And the answer to every question is always love more. Shannon is a native of Denver, Colorado, and has been in banking and finance for 18 years. And she is fond of saying she has been on a spiritual healing journey for far longer than that. She graduated from University of Denver with a master's in international business and is currently serving as a SRM at a prestigious private bank in Denver, where she works directly with professionals to better understand their path to financial freedom and wealth. Shannon currently serves as a board member for Global Minded Mentors for students in the Global Minded Mentoring Program and is the incoming board secretary for the Denver Rotary. Shannon is currently crafting a positivity blog on healing, transformation, and spiritual wisdom called The Healing Cup that can be found on her website, atreeoflightim.com. Shannon is also currently writing a book about authentic leadership and the story of prosperity in the awakened heart. In her talks, she emphasizes the power of looking at life through the lens of love, speaking our truth, even if it is unpopular, the importance of anchoring in gratitude, meditating to stay balanced, and unapologetically living fearlessly authentic. Are you starting to catch why she's such an incredible fit for this podcast? Shannon just launched a leadership group called SOL, Seeds of Light, as a gathering place for leaders to share a deeper understanding of the energy that makes up the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical landscape of our personal and professional lives. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her husband, Michael, and two kids, Alexander, who is currently 12, and Connor, who is 22. If she lived near the ocean, she would watch the waves at sunset every night. I am so excited to introduce you to my incredible friend, Shannon Stone. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I am so excited to see you. It's been so long. And like we were saying earlier before we started taping, like we are on this incredible, expansive conversation that is on such a galactic level. And it's so exciting to connect with other amazing human beings. So thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, thank you for being here. I have to touch base. I would be remiss if we did not share our story of how we met, because I think that it was such divine timing for both of us. For me, it was at a time where I was kind of trying, like finding myself and finding myself as an entrepreneur, finding myself as a mother, finding myself as a mentor. And I remember one of the most impactful moments I've ever had in my life was with you. I don't even know if you know this. We were sitting at a, I think it was a sushi restaurant in Denver. And I was like so exhausted and heavy. I don't remember if you remember this day. I was almost physically ill. My shoulders were aching. I was having immense backaches, major migraines. And I was trying so hard to be bubbly and be this version of myself. And I remember you giving me permission to say, like, tell me what's going on in your heart. And I remember having this mental and emotional meltdown with you, a stranger. Like, I really had only known you for like maybe a month at the time. And we were having this kind of networking luncheon, and you healed me. Like, you did some Reiki on me, and then you gave me this healing affirmation that you recorded into my phone that you channeled.
Yes.
And so why this is so profound is because that healing affirmation got me through so many moments of coaching, and we now use it. Like, I give it to my coaches to use when they're coaching as well, to protect themselves. And you changed my life, my friend. Like, I am so incredibly grateful for you.
Oh my God, big hugs, big hugs. You know, and that's exactly this conversation. That's exactly who we are as human beings. And I remember that day, Michelle. I remember because I walked in and you're always so light and bubbly and soft, and you have this gentleness inside you, this gentle spirit that literally shines out like a light, right? The diamond that you are. I remember sitting down with you and you were trying so hard to be present. And I remember the day because you had no makeup on. You're like, oh, please forgive me. I have no makeup on. I was like, honey, you look absolutely stunning. You're beautiful. And I think that really goes to the point of when we allow ourselves to be our authentic self and truly live from within the divinity and majesty and mastery of who we are within, and take off all the masks, take off the makeup, and really center ourselves in the divinity of the conversation of who we are, which is worthy of love, that is the heart, the rays of the sun, the heartbeat of all life, of everything that surrounds us is this eternal divine stream of life and love. And when we can connect with that internally, first in our internal monologue, in our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions, and then demonstrate that out to other people, we're literally planting seeds of light that are looking for fertile ground, that when they find that fertile ground, just like a very gentle, loving comment and a blessing that I remember, I don't even remember the words that I shared with you, because when we allow ourselves to be our deep, eternal, central, mighty I am presence, right? That central light leads the conversation. Like when we channel, it's about bringing in that highest, highest, highest light and serving from within with the light of love that we are. And so when you are in that moment, completely beautiful, completely vulnerable, then you gave me permission to share my light as much as I gave you permission to be the amazing, vulnerable leader that you are, so you could get into the soft place in your heart. It's about the soft place in our heart when we take off all of our work is to do the release of the resistance to moving forward. And oftentimes the release of that resistance is the conversation that's singing in our heart. But we have to be quiet. We have to be still. We have to give ourselves permission to be quiet, to take off the mask, to rest, to find balance. And you were so amazing. And just from the light that you share, Michelle, all of these years, like you just like shine so bright, and you have such an impact, a positive impact on so many amazing people, that I love that you gave yourself permission to be who you are. And I think if more of us listen to the song singing in our hearts, we would find more peace in our day and allow that light to shine out and touch more people in more profound galactic ways.
Oh my gosh, my friend. Thank you so much for all of that and your words. And you always have a tendency of filling me up every time I see you, all the time that I see you. And I love that you have this, you exuberate, and you really are an epitome of what you speak, like you really do practice this combination of being light and going inward and magnetism and making sure that you're attracting that which you are needing to learn from, wanting to contribute to. I mean, even now, like I wish our audience, Taya, I don't know if you feel this, but like I feel so bad, like I feel pulled into the computer screen to like be next to Shannon. Like there's this incredible magnetism that you exuberate. Where do you think that comes from? Like what is that? How would you put that into words, the practice of experiencing that and being that? But then what is it that you do when you're out in the world to magnetize those people? I think that's such an important lesson to learn.
That is the heartbeat of my entire spiritual journey. So to answer your question, it comes from a softening inside. It comes from a softening inside. It comes from forgiving oneself for not being perfect. It comes from a place of forgiving others, their trespasses against you. It comes from a place of allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to sit with your heart and to ask the questions that you're scared to ask. It comes from a place of being able to look at the mirror and truly see who you are, at looking at the place you are now and where you want to go, and asking the question, what is the resistance that's keeping me from going there? What is the story? What are the phantoms? What are the, I'm very fond of calling them paper dragons. What are the paper dragons that you believe are blocking your path? And then really having those conversations. And I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, spiritual, physical, physiological, psychological, and psychic. I'm a master Reiki practitioner. I've been practicing Reiki for more than 7 years. But the reason I moved into the conversation of energy is because I was healing myself first of trespasses that were made against me when I was very, very young. And so in forgiving that person, I gave myself permission to forgive myself for not being perfect, for being scared, for being lonely, for being less than. Because I think one of the stories inside is we're always fearful of not being enough, not having enough, not being enough, not saying the right thing, doing the right thing. And I think that comes from a deep-seated feeling of isolation and unworthiness of love. And so the answer to your question is I got really real with myself. I created a healing room when I was healing from the trauma. And I remember a moment I walked in and I said, you know what, I just can't handle this. And I forgave and I surrendered. And I remember, and I'm not even kidding, like in my healing room, I was butt naked, right? Butt naked. I threw my hands wide open and I threw my head back. I screamed at the top of my lungs, I surrender. And I think what was so powerful about that is because we're always trying to maintain control, right? In control of our body, in control of our mind, in control of our thoughts and our feelings. And heaven forbid, we allow ourselves to think or feel something that isn't something that we understand, right? But it's in that conversation when we get really real with ourselves that we remember who we are. And we talk about, so first it comes from asking for, accepting and allowing, and surrendering, forgiving inside, which softens our heart and allows ourselves to be vulnerable. And then it comes from magnetizing the highest light into and around ourselves. So in meditations with my soul group, and I say soul because it's Seeds of Light group, it's a leadership group. It's all about magnetizing and getting in touch with the energy that is eternally flowing inside of us, the heartbeat, the diamond white light effervescence that literally flows into, through, and around us in all things. So we imagine this diamond white light energy in the heart of Mother Gaia, and we bring that diamond white light energy into every part of our cell, into our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. And I imagine myself as this fountain of light, right? And our workplaces, the places of our charity, the places of our children and our mothers and fathers and husbands and wives, they are diamond castles. They're castles of crystal and diamond, right? And so when we flood in the energy, we invite in the energy of that highest love of who I am at the core, beyond the illusions and the stories and the attachments and bindings that other people have placed around us, or squeezed our heart, or squeezed our mind, or made us feel less than, or unloved, or not belonging, then we invite ourselves to just be. And when we allow ourselves to be, we invite peace into our heart, and then we magnetize that energy. So you magnetize it, and then you magnify it. And in magnifying it, you magnetize it. So all these diamond white light energies, we're these torch bearers of light, right? We're way shores of light and love. And so the answer is always to love more. And the reason is because everything is energy. And even if there's a transgression against me, even if somebody squeezes my heart or my mind, if I recognize that everything is energy and it's a thought, a feeling, and an emotion that is moving me into a feeling place, we always have an opportunity to choose our feeling place. So I'm very fond of saying, and Thea, I think I mentioned it to you today, at 11:11, I emailed you. And I was like, okay, 11:11 is a double doorway. So your audience is going to think I'm crazy, but this is the deal. Every time I walk through a door, okay, a doorway is an 11, okay? 11 is a doorway. So every time I walk through a doorway, I set intention, and I'm very mindful about serving at the highest level and allowing this fountain of light, of love, of surrendering for the highest good, whatever that is, to serve and bless and honor everyone and everything involved, because
Mhm.
everything is a music note. There's a harmony that is existing beyond the veil of what we can see in this physical illusion, right? Guidance was saying that it's almost like there is a web of light that is laying over the physicality of what we see, which is the illusion. And it is an opportunity for us to play out the stories of emotion, the stories of ideas, concepts, feelings, and emotions that have had profound impacts on us in this lifetime and other lifetimes. And so it's a conversation of what stories in our heart and our mind do we want to touch and witness at a highest level, and then demonstrate the release the resistance of moving forward in the story of love.
So much of what you just said has touched something in me, because I mean I've been tearing up, and I
Yeah.
think, we always talk about how I think a lot of people in our world have the mentality of, I'm filling up my cup and I'm pouring out and I get empty. And then we're giving this kind of responsibility to all the things that are happening outside of ourselves to pour ourselves into. And then we wonder at the end of the night how we are going to make it through another day because we are so empty. And I love a lot of what you're talking about is this becoming, serving others with overflow, like creating
Yes.
a place for yourself that is a constant cascade of love and light and compassion and energy and all of the things that are uplifting and supporting you internally, allowing you to be this incredible version of yourself externally in the world. That finding this place from within that is constantly filling you up, and you're never pouring out, you're only cascading love with an overflow of abundance. And I, so much of that I've learned from you, just watching you and being in your presence, and being so fortunate to sit with you. And I've really admired your ability to find that place where you are constantly cascading this love and compassion. How in the world that, I mean, everyone knows the world that we're in right now. We don't need to bring up all of the treachery and turmoil and all the darkness that exists. But how could you help people understand when all of this is happening outside of ourselves? How can we, despite all that, go inward and find that cascade
Yes.
of love and self-fulfillment that comes from a place that so many feel is empty?
Yes, Michelle, you hit it right on the head. So in Soul, this leadership group that I run, it really is the conversation of how do you find the good feeling place? And I boil it down to something so simple, because the trick is to catch yourself in the moment of the not good feeling place. But so often we operate from a space of a not good feeling place. So if you boil it down into a good feeling place versus a not good feeling place, the moment you start feeling anxious or stressful, then you recognize a trigger that, okay, I'm moving into a not good feeling place. Anything that is real is love. Okay, so everything else is, well, everything is illusion, but for this purpose of this conversation, the love, divine love, is what fills us. So to answer your question, this is the answer. And I had so much resistance to this conversation when my teacher told me, because I'm too busy, I don't have time, it's not important, right? And the list goes on and on. The answer to your question, as honest as I can make it, is that it takes 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. And I preach this. In fact, my friends kind of laugh at me because I preach this so often. What we do is that in the morning when you wake, if you meditate, and meditating can be as simple as just sitting there quietly, touching your heart, saying, I am love, I am loved, I am loving. That's one of the very simple mantras that I'll share with some of my friends and folks, is that I am love, because remembering we are love is half the battle. So just calm yourself, and you center yourself, and set an alarm if you need to. But 5 minutes, everyone goes to the bathroom, right? Everyone washes their hands. Everyone, well, not everyone cooks, but you know what I mean? Everybody has 5 minutes. Okay. So this is what I preach in the morning. take 5 minutes to connect. And what you're doing is you're connecting with the highest vibration of divine love and light. Whatever your conversation is, whatever that understanding is, whether it's God or divine love or God, Jesus, Buddha, Satya Sai, whatever that looks like for you, connect there, right? Sometimes it's angels, archangels. So connect there and just surrender your personality, your ideas, concepts, feelings, emotions, your wants, needs, and desires. Surrender anything and everything that's no longer serving your highest good, highest light, and highest soul purpose. And then ask for, accept, and allow for the divinity and majesty and mastery of all that I am to flood into, through, and around you and lift you up. And it's as if this divine white light is flowering inside of you. So when you look inside of yourself, I often imagine a lotus flower, and the lotus flower is spinning kind of like a chakra spins, and it's opening. And so I just imagine this diamond white light effervescence falling on this beautiful lotus flower, and the lotus flower petals are opening. And then you just surrender yourself to that divine good feeling place. So you center yourself, you breathe in and you breathe out, and you just center yourself in this good feeling place for 5 minutes. And then during the day, you just go about your day. And then in the evening, you anchor again in gratitude. You anchor again in that good feeling place. And you surrender any of the ideas, concepts, feelings, and emotions that you had during the day that didn't feel good, that kind of stuck inside of you. I call them like little dark pebbles, right? Sometimes someone will say something and it will stick inside of you, and that little dark pebble will resonate with a feeling of unworthiness or sad mad, right? Or mad sad. So it's right, depending on what energy is leading the conversation. But when we anchor in gratitude, and when we allow ourselves the time to commit to that highest level, then what it does for me is it smooths out my day like this.
Yes.
The days I don't meditate, Michelle, it's like this: highs, lows, highs, lows. And it's like you're a boat, right? You can imagine yourself a boat, and the waves of emotions and thought and feelings and everything that's acting upon you during the day is rocking your little boat back and forth. Well, how the hell are you supposed to hold on, right? I know, Chris, because I saw that on one of your videos, right? And you're so busy holding on like this so you don't get kicked out of the boat.
Yeah.
But the real trick is to understand you are the boat, you are the waves, and you are the person, and you're the person witnessing the person in the boat. I am that I am that I am that I am, all of those things. And so when you surrender that and you invite levity and joy and peace to be your center, and then you shine your light from that loving place. The other thing it does, Michelle, is that I'm constantly sharing this with people, that we are givers, right? We're constantly giving. We have responsibilities and obligations. And oh my God, how heavy is that? I have this responsibility to sit on this board. Heavy, right? Anything that's heavy, it's not so much what we do, it's how we do it that matters. So when we can surrender the heaviness, right? The backpack of rocks, every single one of us carrying around a backpack of rocks, right?
Not that often.
So the trick is to look in and say, oh my God, unworthiness? Where did that come from? I'm not enough? Says who? Right? We throw away the rocks in the backpack that we've held on to, possibly for lifetimes. And again, that old scratchy sweater, the sweater that you bought 7 years ago, 10 years ago, that you once put on, it was divine on you and you felt so amazing. You put it on again and it's scratchy and it's short and you realize the collar is way too high, right? Get rid of it. Because what is happening as human beings, we are evolving.
Yes.
The universe is evolving. The stars, the universe is inside, like everything is expanding. And so when we welcome the idea of our expansion, I am expanding with joy. I am moving forward in the divine understanding that I am truth. I am moving forward in the understanding and the expansion that I am sacred. I am moving forward in the understanding and sacred knowing that I am divine. When we welcome these mantras into our heart, it's like we fill ourselves up from within, but we're also connecting from highest light to fill our fountain of light. And then from that center, we push that out. We allow it to flow out. We allow ourselves to be in service of. the
Yes.
highest light, because we've surrendered to that highest truth inside of us of who we are.
You're incredible. I have so much. I'm literally taking like pages and pages and pages of notes. Taya, I'm sure you're. Taya's like, gosh, how am I going to write this like one paragraph like description of this podcast? I love you so much. I could literally talk to you for hours. Like and I remember like the moments when we sat together. It was like 4 hours. Like we closed down the like lunch crowd at the sushi restaurant, and it felt like 10 minutes. I mean, it was formative. It was so incredible. So okay, I have another hard question that I
Yes.
feel like some of our listeners are probably like really sitting with right now, is that, I feel like another thing too that we're seeing constantly in society, especially with the teenagers that we coach, some of the families, the moms that we work with, is that, they're either feeling so stuck that like I am on this, mousetrap, rabbit wheel, whatever you want to call it, of like, this is my life. Like nothing that I can do can change the monotony that I'm stuck in. Or they feel they're complacent, that they're choosing to be complacent. They're choosing to say that this is my life. This is what I have built for myself.
Yes.
Or sometimes even an egoical type of mentality where it's like, I have done everything I've done. I'm 50-year-old man that, father, I don't need to change, even though I'm asking my daughter to change, like what would you say to those people in this ideal of shifting to a place of understanding evolution, and that no matter where you are in life, in socioeconomic status, in wherever you are in the world, that there is an opportunity and a need for you to desire to evolve?
So that's a really good question. And I would say, Michelle, a lot of it is in our words. So nothing is a hard question. Okay? When you listen to people speak, it's like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, I tried so hard. Oh, this is such a challenge. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. So there's two things I want to share with you about this. So one is about the breath of life. Okay, we are creators. The answer to your question is that we are always expanding. Okay, a little tiny seed in the cold, cold, hard ground is moving. Even though we don't see it move, it's wiggling, it's wiggling, it's adjusting, it's twisting, it's moving, it's finding its way to its expansion. The answer is always inside of us. There's so much noise and so much static, and there's so much pain. There's an accumulation of negativity that is weighing heavy on all of us. It is affecting our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and our actions. The answer is that when we surrender the idea that we have control, when we surrender to understand that we are servants of the highest light, when we don't worry so much about the heavy things weighing on us, because everything happens for a reason, and that's a hard one. I experienced trauma when I was very, very young. And I asked God, why did I get hurt? Why did you hurt me? Why did I get hurt? Well, little girl doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand why she gets hurt. And so the conversation is something that evolves inside of each one of us in our own perfect timing. The question is who am I and who are you? Without a name, without an identity, without your fancy executive director or CEO role, without your makeup, without your clothes, without your politics, without your economy, without your fancy home and cars, without everything, okay? Who am I? And when I look naked in the mirror, do I love who I am?
Amen.
Now, that is a question that a lot of people do not want to answer because it scares them. The root of all of that negativity is fear of isolation and fear of not being good enough, fear of unloved, right? Fear. So when we are brave, when we are courageous, when that little girl or little boy inside of you reaches for its innocence, when we dare to ask the questions, why don't I feel good? Why do I feel anxious? Why did I reach for that bottle of wine again when I know it's not good for me? Right? Why do I have a volcano feeling of anger inside of me every time that person walks through the door? What is it that causes me to hurt so bad? What is it that causes me to reach for something better? The answers are inside people's hearts. But the answer is that you have to get very quiet and very still. And there is a choosing. Right? Every time you walk through a doorway, there's a choice to choose how you're going to move. Are you going to move more into a loving place, or are you going to move less into a loving place within yourself and within each other? Right? Are you going to demonstrate that? Is someone witnessing you going to feel love and divinity? Or are they going to feel like you're sucking their energy away? Because not because you're a bad person, but because you're empty. And if you're empty, you have nothing to give. And then you're pulling from all sources, just trying to survive. So the answer is choosing that something's not, that something could be better. You know, when you're naked in front of the mirror and you ask yourself, like, and I'm talking about, you know, your CEO, your executive director that thinks that they did it all, that they're in control. Oftentimes we have challenges of ego that speak over our inner guidance, right? Yeah. So when we get real quiet and we look at ourselves naked in the mirror and you ask yourself, do I love who I have become? And if you can sit there and you can really look at yourself and love every aspect of yourself, then good, you're about to ascend. Congratulations.
I'm so glad that you, I mean, I use the mirror reference all the time. And I think when I first started my personal development journey, it was really like before I even had an intention of connecting to myself, connecting to soul, connecting to source, before I met anybody in Colorado, when I was just a mom, when I was just starting to be a business owner, I say that when I first looked in the mirror, me postpartum, depressed and overweight, like I had this seemingly beautiful light. Like I was a new mom. My daughter, my baby was healthy. I was healthy. I had an incredible husband. I had a brand new home. Like I had a beautiful life, working to be a loan officer. But there was something that I saw in the mirror that allowed me, and I gave it permission to stop me. And that was the turning point for me. That was the moment where I discovered my awakening that we talked about last season, and that I started on my path of connecting to my soul and to myself. And it was that moment in front of that mirror where I saw that version of me that was like, choose me. Like, this is me, you know? And I love that you use that reference. And I think it's so important, especially for like teenagers, young adults, the people that we work with, the parents that are members of this household, the family dynamics, you know, so many times, so often we're looking at the next generation and we're saying, you need to be better. You need to heal. You need to strive to be a better version of yourself. You need to learn. You need to grow. You need to evolve. You need to do all of these things. And then I talked to some parents and I'm like, what are you doing to evolve, to grow, to learn, to read, to be better, to be a better parent? And when we hear that sometimes from parents that they don't need to, I really do see it as a lack of them looking in that mirror. And I think it's so important. It's so integral to this process.
And Michelle, you're absolutely right. And it's the house of many mansions, right? So just because we have one conversation with our heart and we believe we're healed, there's the house of many mansions. So it's looking at on so many different levels and so many different lifetimes. And that conversation is constantly evolving within you. And I think you're right. There's so many people that put so much pressure on themselves and others. The reason, I guess my tagline, the thing that I've held on to all this time as I've moved through my spiritual healing journey, and it has been, I mean, I went from black and white, good and bad. I used to be so shy. I would never look anyone in the eyes. I was so scared of myself because I didn't know myself. I didn't know my truth. I would have never in 1,000 years been on this podcast because I was too scared. So I'm always talking about speaking your truth and being authentic to yourself fearlessly. Yeah. The answer is always to love more, right? Sometimes that's loving someone else more, and sometimes it's loving ourselves more. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I started doing, and so all of us, right? me included. I would love to lose 20 pounds, 25 pounds. That sounds good too. And so you're going to laugh, but I'm going to bring this up because I know that you are on the edge, right? You are on the edge looking for those vibrations that are going to affect massive immediate transformation within you and your audience. And so one of the things that I've learned throughout my spiritual healing journey is everything is energy. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything is energy. The physicality of the things we think are physical is just a backdrop of energy that's vibrating on such a high level that it's manifesting itself to look physical so we can live out our stories, right? So when we realize that everything is energy, then we can really look within ourselves and understand our thoughts. So going back to the idea that we're creators, with the breath, so I create. So being mindful of what we say when we use the I am. I am. I'm a huge believer in the power of positive mantras. And sometimes they'll just flow out of me when I'm channeling. They're like this and that and this and that. And I started taping myself because it comes so fast in this. It's almost like riding a tornado. It spins and spins and spins, and all this wisdom is just going bam, 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 bam. And then it just goes whoonk. Like, are we resting?
What's gonna happen next?
What's but it's so interesting because I am affirmations are like that, because when back to the sushi restaurant, right? It was exactly what you needed to hear at that moment, but it's almost like a cleanser. I often imagine myself underneath a waterfall of light. Yes. Wash away anything and everything that's no longer serving my highest good, highest light, and highest soul purpose. And when you ask for, accept, and allow for the highest light to manifest through your life, then that is an invitation that the light will follow. Mm-hmm. We just have to get out of the way, right? So if everything is energy, going back to the whole I'd like to lose 20 pounds thing, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I took a pin. All right. Once I realized everything was energy, I took all my fat spots and I wrote love on all my fat spots. I did. I'm not kidding you, because then I looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh, it's just love that's got itself manifested in this way because of a consistency of thoughts or feelings and emotions that I allowed into my vessel, into my body, into my heart, and into my mind. Okay. So when I took ownership of that it's manifesting for a purpose, and same thing with everything in our lives, then we can say, okay, thank you. So the answer to anything that's bothering us is thank you, because there's always a lesson and a gift inside of what we consider pain, because the duality of life is pleasure and pain, life and death, right? But in the highest light, there's no duality. It's all for the learning and the moving further into the conversation of divine love. So by putting love all over my body and all my little special fat parts, I was inviting the energy of forgiveness, compassion, kindness into my own vessel, into my own body, mind, and heart. And from there, where it was healed, then it lighted up my body, my mind, my heart, and allowed myself to be that diamond white light effervescence. And from there, that fountain of light can shine out and bless others at the highest level.
That's incredible. I'm so glad that you brought up gratitude and contrast. I mean, I use that so much in my teachings and with my students and my parents, is that like recognizing contrast. I mean, so many people have asked me, how can people remain positive while they're still processing extremely challenging or stressful situations? And the answer is recognizing contrast, because if life always gave us the best situations over and over and over again, we eventually become numb to best. And then soon best would become great. And then great would become okay. And then okay would become meh. And when we look at life's like worst challenges as the contrast to life's best situations, we begin to have this gratitude. And I believe that gratitude is the pièce de résistance of life. It's the reason that we can experience the worst trauma imaginable. That both Shannon and I have gone through some awful traumas in our life. I know that. And then within moments, find a reason to smile. It's sometimes that reason can come from a hug from a loved one, the feeling of like our own beating heart in our chest, or the sun kissing our skin. It's gratitude is king in finding peace in any situation. And I'm
Yes.
so grateful that you mentioned that, because I think it's so integral to this soul connection, that when we go inward, we're going to find moments, we're going to find things that we want to tell ourselves, we label as things that we're not proud of, we label as things that we're ashamed of, we label as things that we hate about ourselves or about others. And when we can just recognize all of those shadows in our presence and in our lives as just the contrast to the incredible light, we have so much gratitude for it. I'm
Yes.
so glad you said that.
Yes, because the answer is like when someone gives you like, I need that report. Like, so if someone has an anger bomb, right? I was talking, so my son is now 12. But when he was younger, maybe about 7, he came to me, he's like, Mom, someone said this, that, and the other. And I looked at him, I said, and you accepted that anger bomb? I was like, someone made a nice tasting anger bomb and popped it right to you, and you ate it down and said, yum, yum, let me have more. It's like, no, we have a choice. We can choose when our boss comes to us and says, oh, I needed that report. Or, as a model, if someone says, oh, I'm so sorry, you're like 5 or 10 pounds overweight, or we don't like the way your hair looks, or whatever it is, whatever judgment is placed upon you, we have the right to center in our self-love and say, I do not accept that, because it is not in congruency with who I am. And I'm not talking about who I am as a personality, right? Who I am as a deep, divine, eternal being of light that is here to bless and honor the idea and conversation of love inside of me and inside of every single person as fountains of light, as shining stars. So my name, and Michelle, I know you this, is Shining Star, right? If you look at my website, it's Shining Star. The reason it's Shining Star is because every single one of us are shining stars. We heal ourselves first with ideas and conversations of love. And then from the fountains of light that we have become, we heal the world by demonstrating the conversation of love and forgiveness inside of ourselves and inside of other people. We're talking about a global, galactic conversation about accepting and inviting the story of love inside, and surrendering the old ideas, concepts, feelings, and emotions of the stories and the bindings and the judgments and the hurtful conversations that have been placed in and around and through us, or that we have pulled around ourselves as a blanket that maybe at one time it served us, but cast it off because it doesn't serve us anymore. The only thing that's going to serve us is standing in our light, being the light, honoring and knowing who we are, which is at our heart, the divinity and the divine understanding of starlight, that we are gifted to bless onto other people, that we hold the light for others that cannot hold it for themselves.
Yeah.
And then as leaders of the light, as servants of the light, we surrender our agendas so that we can be of service. And when we surrender our agendas and allow ourselves to be fully present with the mindfulness and the intention of serving the highest light, then we walk into any boardroom, we walk into any conversation and know that our conversation is magnetized by the story of love, the divine light of God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever you believe in, magnetizes that light and spreads it out and finds fertile ground for those people who need it, or are hurting or lost or need that forgiveness inside themselves most.
I love that so much. You are such a pool of wisdom, my friend. I'm so grateful that you took the time to be here. I would love to give you an opportunity to, because I'm sure that there are people listening to this podcast right now. Maybe one in particular is a 13-year-old teenage girl who is sad, lost, lonely, feels completely just unknown of her future, maybe is struggling with her own kind of ideal of darkness, and doesn't want to go out in the world, is afraid of losing friends, of losing confidence, all the things. And she is just now learning to sit with herself. What would you say to her and other teenagers like her that don't even know where to start?
So, Michelle, you hit my heartstrings, because I was that little girl, right? there was so much fear that was pressed against me at a very, very young age that I didn't know what love was. I was so scared because I thought people were mean and bad that I got used to being judged and used to being a bad person. And I truly believed it. And I remember looking in the mirror when I was really young, probably about the beautiful 13-year-old, the beautiful 11-year-old, just sitting in front of a mirror. And I had acne and I had glasses. And I just remember looking forward and saying, I want to know who I really am beyond all this stuff that is hurtful and hurting. And I remember just getting very still inside of myself. And if I were, and I am talking to you now, I would say, it's okay. It's okay, because the stories and the ideas and the concepts that you believe are the most important right now, they're not. That you're fearful of your voice and fearful of what might come out and what might happen. It's okay. That it's okay to be fearful and uncertain about the future, because none of us have a looking glass. And I would just sit with yourself and invite love, because you have so much to give. You don't even know the depths and the resources of the light that lives inside of you. And have faith and trust that whatever is happening right now is happening for a purpose. And that when we surrender and allow love, allow the light to shine in, what it does, and I've seen this in visions, what it does is that when we allow light to come in, it cracks into the little tiny spaces that you allow, right? It moves into, through, and allow, like a liquid white light, honey light, moves into the cracks that you have allowed. And it will slowly expand. And this light will light the darkest of caverns in your heart or in your mind or in your experience. And it's okay to sit there and not know who you are and not know what you want to do and not know what's going to happen in the future and to be fearful and scared. It's okay to be there. And now lift your head up and touch your heart and take a deep breath and just ask to remember who you are. Beyond all the illusions, sit with your breath and ask your heart to show you who you are. And it may take a day, it may take 2 days, it may take a week, and it may take longer. But I promise you, I was that scared little girl who didn't trust her voice, who didn't know who she was, didn't know the path of love. But when you choose, the light chooses you back. When you choose love, love chooses you back. And then the pathway of the golden white light and the diamond effervescence, which is the energy of life and love and divinity, will open like that lotus flower that's opening in your heart right now. And you will find the way, because you're always meant to shine bright.
You're amazing, my friend. Thank you so much. I'm sure that you have touched so many people through your voice and through your channeling and everything that you shared today. I'm so incredibly grateful. Can we please not let this take another like 5 years before we connect?
No, no, it's not. So I have to tell you, I'm writing a book, and I am so excited because there are so many things coming through, and we're going to have to do this again soon.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me where you are, because I'm flying out there to see you and we're having lunch, because I need a big hug from my Michelle King.
Yes, absolutely, my friend. How can people find more information about all of the incredible things that you have going on, Seeds of Light and your book and all of the amazingness that you're bringing to the world?
Yes. So I'm a huge fan of heart-centered connection. So call me or text me, and you can call me or text me at 303-810-5528. You could email me, but emails get lost. I want to hear from you. Let's connect heart to heart. There are healing journeys that are happening right now. The expansion is happening right now. I've been on this healing journey for a reason. Like I asked my teacher once, I was like, why did I have to go through the darkness? Why did I have to experience that pain? And the reason is because once you come through the conversations of pain, you can hold the door of light open for those who are following. And the thing is that we're all the teachers, we're all the givers, and we're the gift at the same time. So as much as we are opening this channel of divine love and light here with everyone on this call and everyone else that's going to listen to it later, we are the example of, we are shining the light out for everyone around us. And that light, the world needs our light more today than ever before. So go out there and shine bright and be your amazing, authentic self fearlessly, and call me because I'd love to talk to you.
You're incredible, my friend. Thank you so much again for being here. You have changed my life in so many ways. You have no idea. And I'm sure I'm still going to learn other ways that you have changed my life in the future, because I just keep on learning and growing. I'm so grateful for you for being a part of my journey. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for being here. I know that in today's world, there are so many things that you can choose, choices you can make, listening and taking your time to just kind of fill yourself up with. So we're so incredibly grateful that you took time and you chose us. So thank you again. To learn more about Positive Presence, you can go to positivepresenceglobal.com or Google Michelle Marie King or Positive Presence Global and find us on any of your podcast platforms. Please feel free to share, comment. We really appreciate your feedback, and we're open to talking about anything you'd like us to talk about. And remember, positivity can only spread when it is present. Thanks, my friends. Bye.
Thank you.